This week, the triumphant return of the Bad Batch with Season 3 sets us off with a dark and ominous tone that's shaping up to be a pretty darn good season.
There's always lots to talk about beyond the Dune Sea.
Let's get to it. We could have really used a couple E11s on this mission.
Yeah, did Hunter even say how many guys were in there?
I don't know, 3 or 4.
And Omega?
I guess we'll have to ask him to get back.
I guess so.
I thought you took away its blaster.
I thought you said you deactivated it.
I said I deactivated its comms.
Why not deactivate the whole thing then?
Okay, you know what? How's that? Deactivated enough?
I mean, it's a little bit of overkill. I mean, does it even still work?
Of course it still works. Droid, speak.
I can't feel my legs.
Okay, I mean, at least it's easier to carry.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Oh, man, Hemlock, we gotta roll, dude.
No, get ready. No time.
Okay. Hold up. Where did you get that? Seriously, how long have you had that?
A bit.
A bit. You don't think that would have...
It's for emergencies.
You don't feel like this is an emergency?
I mean...
My sensors said it was.
Hold on.
It buzzed.
Yeah.
Mission status.
We have arrived on Wayland and are closing in on Omega's location.
And we captured an informant.
An informant? I knew I could trust you boys.
Informant? I've been reprogrammed to janitorial duties.
Was that a battle droid?
Yep, caught him right outside of Tantus. He was about ready to spill Omega's location. Then we had to split.
Hemlock and the Empire don't use battle droids. Clean up this mess. Don't make me regret this.
And I thought humans were supposed to be more intelligent than us battle droids.
Boring conversation anyway. Come on, let's clean this up. We'll catch up back up with the batch.
Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Dune Sea. My name is Konnor.
And I'm Seth. Get out of here.
My favorite comment from last week on Instagram from the Bryonosaurus. If Omega makes it out, does that set her up to return as an adult and reunite with her childhood friend Hera in Ahsoka Season 2?
Ooh.
Fun thought.
Interesting.
Fun thought. Fun to chew on right there.
Interesting. My favorite comment is from YouTube, our video last week, which is kind of like a prelude to the Bad Batch season. It is at Michael Rowland, 1887, Listception, bunch of laughing emoji, crying emojis, and little party, I don't know, blower things going off, like confetti blowers. I don't know.
Party trains.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you call it? Noisemakers, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I just randomly said it. It's fun. And you never know. I love a good tier list. Who doesn't love a tier list within a tier list?
Right? I know. I'm glad you guys got a kick out of that. That was fun. So, hey, we are here in some little bit new digs in what we're calling Season 2 of Beyond the Dune Sea. Hope you guys are excited. We have some upgrades around here.
Yeah.
You know, the field work pays well. I'll say that.
It does.
Hunter, while he may have been a little disappointed in our confusion with the battle droid situation, he did pay up a pretty penny for us to go out there and get some work done.
You know,
so,
it's good
check
stuff.
this out. Pretty happy about that, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today is Wednesday, February 21st, and it marks a new era in Star Wars, and an era that I am so excited for. In fact, like I've not been this excited for Star Wars in such a very long time.
Momentous occasion, right?
Extremely momentous.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love that today the Battlefront Classic Collection got announced? Wild stuff. I'm actually not joking about this. Like, I am legitimately hyped. So obviously the Bad Batch came out and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But today, very surprised on the Nintendo Direct, they announced the Battlefront Classic Collection, which will be on Switch. It'll be on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. And just a few little things about it just to get hyped, because I love this game. I know you're more of a fan of the modern.
Yeah.
But this is, just so you guys know, this is the original 2 games, Battlefront 1 and 2, that came out like in 2004 and 2005. They're being packaged together. And it's not just the games being packaged together and just, put on modern hardware. You've got 64-player online that's cross-platform. Dude, I am so down for that. Oh my goodness.
You hyped.
I am so excited. The extra DLC characters like Asajj Ventress and Kit Fisto that were only in the Xbox DLC.
Do you think he'll have the wavy lightsaber?
I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
Extra maps. And it releases March 14th. So like right around the corner. And it's going to be around $30 or so. So I don't know if it's 30 or 35. So I apologize. I don't actually have that info in front of me, but I am so freaking hyped for this. Like I was pulling your guys' leg a minute ago, with the hype, but I am legitimately hyped for that. I love this game. It's one of my favorite all-time Star Wars games.
I'm excited for you. I remember playing this, but like just against the computer. So I am curious to see what it would be like to play against.
That's
people.
what I never played other than couch co-op, which couch co-op is staying, by the way.
Good times.
Hype.
Yes.
I'm just so excited. And then the best feature is also returning, Galactic Conquest.
Do you think that we should couch co-op some Galactic Conquest?
Yes.
That would be fun.
100%.
That would be fun.
I've already been kind of looking into getting streaming set up for gaming, and I'm like, dude, this is just even more reason to get it set up, because I legitimately love it. Yeah. Like a little just anecdote. I don't know if I've told this on the store on the store. I don't know if I've told this on the show before. But I used to come home from school every day. Pop a plate of pizza rolls in the microwave.
Microwave the pizza rolls.
Yep. Yeah, not in the oven. I wasn't fancy.
I was going to say, like...
take a seat in my... I had a recliner that I found in it is either I found it in the garbage or something. I don't know. I was that kid who did stuff like that. And I had like this whole little gaming setup. I'd pop in my headphones. I had a classic rock playlist on my... what were those called? It was one of the first touchscreen phones. It was the LG Touch or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd pop on my playlist and I'd play through an entire game of Galactic Conquest every single day after school.
What? Did you switch around what faction you were?
I did. I was mostly a fan of being the Republic.
Oh, okay.
On occasion, I played the Empire.
Yeah.
I rarely played Separatist, though. I just didn't like playing as battle droids.
Yeah.
Because they suck.
That they do. They do.
Yeah. So, I played as the Rebels on occasion too.
She gotta be Luke, right?
Yeah. Well, that's another thing is I had the cheat code for infinite hero tokens, so I hardly ever played as the troops.
Gotcha. Didn't even matter.
Now, when I go back and play, I rarely use the heroes because I like playing as the troopers better. But just hyped. I'm just excited. It's going to be so cool. But we all know what you're here for. I'm sure only half of you are as excited about Battlefront 2 as I am. But the other momentous thing that happened today that also makes me very excited.
New Star Wars.
Bad Batch Season 3 premiered with a 3-episode drop.
How'd we get so lucky? When did you watch it?
I did get up before work.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it though. I watched the first episode.
That was it?
I had a late night last night anyway, so I was like, I couldn't watch it all the way through. So I watched the rest throughout the day.
Okay.
But I did watch the first episode though.
Okay. I got up at 5, watched them all.
Yeah, so I woke up at 5 and I was like, got through the first one. I was like, I can't do it. I've had a very long week. I'm like, I can't.
Gotcha.
My old man genes are kicking in.
Gotcha.
You become a dad, and that's what happens. You just fall asleep on the couch every time you sit down.
Don't succumb to that. Not yet.
Anyway,
yeah.
So been a pretty cool. It was a great premiere. I thought fantastic. Mm-hmm. So real quick, just rapid fire, 1 minute review. Hit me.
So I thought it was a lot of fun. I will admit, Episode 1 gave me a lot of Andor vibes when they were in the prison arc in Andor. But I thought this was actually done a little better with the ticking clock with, what is it called?
The centrifuge.
The centrifuge. Yeah, as it was ticking around. I thought that was fun, but I love that the high shot of the table and the lab. I'm like, looks just like Andor. Like, I mean, it's the same thing, the routine throughout the day. Episode 2, fine. Another like kind of adventure of the week, but cool to see the younger clones and to see that like, they have been messing around with this for quite a while now. And whenever the experiments push back, they just pack up and leave, basically. Episode 3, that's where it's at. Palpy shows up. Love it. I mean, and then 2, I loved using the centrifuge as like literally a ticking time bomb. Like, oh my, good storytelling. But yeah, there you go. 3, 1, 2. There you go. In order of the goodness of the episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Nice. So for me, I thought that Star Wars animation has truly hit its stride. And what I mean by that is because we've gotten great Star Wars animation in the past, obviously, but I mean like this consistently, everything looks good. It sounds good. It is equal parts great in the action as it is in the quiet moments. As I said this last week on our top 10, it was like Bad Batch really shines in the quiet moments. And that first episode was all quiet pretty much. Yeah. Like all just soft. Let's get to know these characters. Let's get to know this. And it's like, the best way I could describe it is Bad Batch may be an animation, but it's not cartoony, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like when I think cartoony, I think bombastic and I think crazy for the sake of it almost, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that that's where Bad Batch shines is it's like it's found this sweet spot where it can tell, like you said, it's kind of got that Andor. I think when I think about that, Andor is very well constructed from like a production standpoint, a story structure standpoint. And yeah, Bad Batch so far right now, same way. And it's like every season it's gotten better and better with this. Yeah. Like the first season, those filler episodes, they kind of dragged a little bit. Season 2, they were a lot more fun because even though story-wise, they might have kind of been filling in gaps, we were getting
those character moments,
getting character development and here it's like all of that. And I think that they have really nailed down that pacing and everything. And so then episode 2, same thing. I think that they tied, yes, it was adventure of the week type stuff, but it served a bigger purpose than that. It was your introduction to Hunter and Wrecker. It was, how are they doing right now? You get a lot of character development in that episode.
And in those quiet moments. I mean, that moment where Hunter looks at Tech's goggles. I mean, nothing's said. Exactly. He looks over at the little rabbit that like,
yeah, Lulu.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And then
nothing needs to be said.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you get into episode 3. And of course, Palpatine showing up. That's great. But even more so than that, it's the interactions between Omega and Crosshair that really sell that episode. And the centrifuge. I mean,
yes. What a cool device to be using.
I even wonder if they looked at Andor's story structure. We'll see as we go forward because I don't know if they're all going to be like this, but I mean, that was a motif in episode 1 and episode 3, and it kind of carried, it was a through line. And this did feel like a little mini arc. Yeah. Like, okay, now we're out. We're flying away. We're free. Yeah. And like that could have been a cliffhanger, to the end of a season in a way, right? But it wouldn't be that satisfying, but it could have been in a lot of ways. So, I mean, excellent storytelling. I just found myself while I was watching it, just being blown away by, wow, this feels just so curated, so finely tuned. Yeah. And like these guys, they've been working on this animation style for, a decade and a half at this point, and they have really nailed down a formula by this point. And it makes me hope that we're getting something after this. Yeah.
That we can just keep going with different stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good stuff. Good stuff. So in typical Beyond the Dune Sea fashion, if you guys remember from the Ahsoka days, we were bred on this. Yeah. 5 takeaways. We're going to kind of break down the episodes. Yeah. The premiere, a Bad Batch, into kind of 5 or so bullet points. Yeah. Kind of go from there.
We'll wrap, as the kids say.
Yeah. 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 It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, we got to know your thoughts on what you guys thought of the Bad Batch premiere. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Please let us know in the comments down below. But first point, this was Return of the Jedi.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How so? How is it like Return of the Jedi?
Well, so, I mean, we talked about this several times now. We're like, the thing with Star Wars now is always like, this was the Empire Strikes Back of this show. Like, you even hear it outside of Star Wars nowadays, right? Like Infinity War was the Empire Strikes Back of the MCU.
Because it was.
It was, yes. Yeah. And so what does that mean? It's like, well, your heroes are scattered. The bad guys win, but there's a glimmer of hope, and Bad Batch season 2 felt like that. Like there's a glimmer of hope, but our guys kind of lose.
Yeah.
Omega gets taken. Tech dies.
Yeah.
It's really hard on our characters.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing the aftermath of this. And this, if you're going to say that's the Empire Strikes Back, then this naturally is the Return of the Jedi. And what is the formula of Return of the Jedi? Let's get the band back together.
Yeah.
And let's take the fight to them.
Yeah.
That's the formula.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot help but feel like this, they intentionally were like, no, this is the Return of the Jedi. And let me break down a couple points here. So it's both narratively and thematically, right? Because we are building toward that, getting the gang back together.
Yeah.
So we're not there yet, but we are building toward it. Hunter and Wrecker, their entrance in episode 2 felt very Luke Skywalker coming into Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
Because what does that do? Both visually, we see, we're getting close-ups of their armor. They're very scratched up. They're a little bit more beat up than last time.
Yeah.
They're walking with a sort of, it's maybe I'm impressing this onto them, but a bit of more intentionality. They're a bit more somber. They're not, Wrecker's not, oh yeah, let's go. When he goes into there,
he's
he's
not
like
jovial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
he doesn't even say a word in there.
No,
Hunter
he doesn't.
does all the talking. Yeah.
And he walks in and and like Luke, you're starting to see their character when
Business
they walk
time.
in.
Yeah.
And doing some deals with the gangsters, right? Getting something in return.
Yeah.
And then the Sarlacc from Return of the Jedi. Now we have, I thought it was a Sarlacc at first, but you brought up it might be
during
the Drengir.
A Drengir. I'm sorry.
From the High Republic era.
Yeah, I've never known exactly how to pronounce that, but yeah, it's a carnivorous plant. It might be that. I was going to say it also reminded me of the flood from Halo.
Right,
that like there was. Yeah, I'm not
something
exactly,
like that. Though, right? But, at the end of that,
but at the big mouth, it looked like
episode,
it looked like the Kraken from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, so we have the Sarlacc connection.
Yeah.
And then I even thought Omega and Crosshair. Now this one's reaching a little bit, okay, I'll admit, but are kind of in a prison of their own, like Han and Carbonite.
Yeah.
And I even thought Omega could be like the Leia. She's saving the person that she cares about in Crosshair. And then to really nail it home, Palpatine's arrival is so similar to his arrival in the beginning of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, with the Red Guards coming out. Yeah.
Hemlock even has a few lines that are word for word.
Yeah.
Lines from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. He says that maybe the Emperor won't be as patient or something
that.
Yeah.
And that's Vader's line.
Yeah.
The Emperor will not be as forgiving as I am.
Yeah.
It's like, they really nailed that home. And so it felt to me intentional, which I think can help us sort of foresee what's going to happen into the future of the story.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I think that our gang's getting back together.
Yeah.
Right. But everybody's changed a little bit too, just like in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of Jedi Knight.
A Jedi Knight, out of it for a little while. Everyone has delusions of grandeur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think that was very interesting. That it was so on the nose.
I didn't even catch that. I'll be honest.
I'm so surprised because that's your movie.
It is my movie, but that is really interesting though. That like even I did catch again the Hemlock lines, and I was like, but I'll riff off that because I'll riff off anything. That I think that like this is when rhyming is good in Star Wars, if that makes sense. Because it's not directly ripping it off. Like I've watched Return of the Jedi 100 times, but I didn't even pick up on it. So I think that this is riffing I think it's poetry in a positive way.
Yeah.
Instead of just straight up like ripping off something and just redoing it.
And I think that the original trilogy, as far as the story structure, has become so iconic. It kind of, I think, elevates itself beyond just the rhyming nature of Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that that structure of our heroes, they're up in the first episode and they come way down in episode 2. But when episode 3 comes around, we're getting back together. We pull ourselves back up and we take the fight to them.
Yeah.
It's kind of a timeless story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
okay.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Well, I think that we should probably talk about the big elephant in the room.
Just get him out of the way, huh?
Oh,
him? Oh, who are you talking about?
I was talking about her.
Omega.
I think that we should just talk about Omega.
Yeah,
We
just
should
get her out of the way.
Let's just talk about it. Yeah, because this is fascinating. Don't you think?
It's really
'Cause
fascinating.
I think that the whole thing is like, what is she exactly? I don't know. What do you think she is?
So I thought that, again, going back to my original point about like hitting their stride, the way that they presented the information, little bits at a time, just a little bit of like, oh, hey, like Nala say, almost saying Project Necromancer.
Yep.
You're like, she
know.
almost did it.
I know.
Are they really? That's what it is, but come on, just say it.
And then them saying M count too.
Yeah.
They weren't coming out and saying, but we know Pershing and Mando recalled it M count.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh, that's got to be what they're still talking about. Like, oh.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's just such a nice way to like tantalize, and just like little bits.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, man, I think she could shape up to be one of my favorite characters by the end of this.
Depending how it all goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a great question. Like what? So we know, let's go to what we know so far about Omega from the previous seasons. We know that she's a non-replicate or a non genetically altered clone.
Yeah.
And
she's basically Boba Fett.
She's Boba Fett.
But female.
And I think the big question we have to ask is like, was her being female a genetic defect? Which I know that sounds horrible to say, but you know what I mean? Because
anomaly. Yeah.
Was it an anomaly from the cloning process?
Is that what makes it work?
Because in season 1, that's the big sort of twist as to why Omega is interesting and special. It's because it's like, oh, we're perfectly replicating Jango Fett's DNA, but somehow one of them ended up female.
Yeah.
What's going on there, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the only other unaltered clone like Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So was that an accident or did they try to do that? I think that's the first question we kind of have to ask. Like, did they say, hey, can we do a perfect genetic replication of Jango Fett, but just
switch the gender?
Yeah. Just swap those chromosomes, can we do that?
Mm-hmm.
But then, it's not a perfect replication of it. So I'm leaning towards maybe they didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think that but then she's Omega, so she's after Boba for sure. So It's not like they tried once and like, oh shoot, we ended up with, you wanted a son. So I'm going to go back and do another one.
She's the other half of the coin, like I feel like it was intentional to a degree. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, that part. And then her being the only clone that can accept midichlorians is like another.
Is that what she can do, you think?
I mean, I think that's what they're saying, because they showed like the blood dripping and they're like they're trying to transfuse the blood, and hers is the only blood that can accept it.
Exactly. That she's like a perfect template, that she can that you won't lose M count when you mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, why is that? Is that like, it's very interesting because then you're getting into like metaphysical questions and stuff. It's like about souls, like questions that like one of my favorite games, Force Unleashed 2 asked,
Mm-hmm.
Like, do each individual clone, do they have their own souls, and like, it's very, man, it's out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's weird to think about because like, so without her, okay, is that why you need to strand cast and stuff like that? Like what they're doing with what they're trying to do with like Snoke or Grogu and stuff like that in the future? Is it because like she was so perfect and she was how it was supposed to be? And you're supposed to just use her as kind of the vessel or whatever to move your metachlorians around, basically. And without them, then you've got to kind of hodgepodge things together. I don't know. It's
this is what I can't wrap my mind around. Is like I wrote down. I guess we'll kind of mix this with our Project Necromancer talk.
I mean, we can just keep. Yeah, I mean, but it's all
like I'm just so interested in. What's the difference between Omega and Grogu? And what I mean by that is like, I know what the difference is, but like, as far as the Project Necromancer is concerned, why is there a pivot? Like,
I think it's because they need metachlorians they need a high M count to be able to be testing these vessels. I don't think they can keep getting M count from Palpatine at that point.
Are they getting them from Palpatine?
I don't think they can get them from. I think they're getting them from like the Jedi from in like Kenobi.
That's kind of what I thought. I think that's what's in like the tombs, like in those or in those capsules.
Yes,
that you see when they go into the vault. I think that's probably just Jedi they killed during Order 66.
Oh, you think so?
Or maybe they put them in stasis.
You think so? You don't think that those are possible
clones so far?
Yeah, possible maybe. Palpatine clones. Yeah,
it could be that too. I don't know. because I think you have to ask several questions, like if we're leading to those conclusions, which is, this is still 50 years before the rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It's
And
true.
even before that, this is still, you're talking like 30 years, 20, 30 years before The Mandalorian, where this starts getting introduced. If they were this far along now, like what happened?
I mean, they're going to wreck shop. I mean, let's
But
be
even
honest.
even if they do, they were able to complete this science.
Yeah.
This is what, I mean, even if we're being generous, 5 years after Revenge of the Sith, which realistically, it's not even that long. It's probably like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So why did it then take so much longer? Is this a Galen Erso thing where you had to have a guy like Hemlock and Hemlock gets capped by the end of this?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hemlock was giving me vibes that he's just the guy that's putting everything all together. He wasn't doing much of anything by himself.
I think he is.
You think
for
so?
Sure. Yeah,
I felt like
he just doesn't know much about cloning.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's just master puppeteer. He just can put everybody in place and make them do the thing he needs them to do.
I think he just doesn't know the ins and outs of cloning.
Yeah.
But he definitely is running all these other experiments and
Yeah.
stuff. I don't know. It's really...
Because, they are doing other experiments because the plants and stuff like that, they're testing other things. Like, they're messing with all kinds of stuff, not just...
Well, at this point, they're only doing Necromancer, it sounds like.
You think so? What do you think the plants were? Or the creeping vine or whatever those things were?
In episode 2?
Yeah, you don't
they
think
abandoned that.
I know, but you don't think they were working on that? That was something that got out of hand?
Of course they were, but I'm saying at this point, though.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I mean, he's just talking about that there's other monsters out on Tantus. I assume that's other things that they were
but I think it's, I don't
with.
know. I took it as everything is serving Project Necromancer because that's all the Emperor cares about.
Yes, at this point, yes.
But I'm just, I don't know. There's a lot of things that are odd to me when it comes to, I'm sure they'll get answered, but it's just like right now when I'm sort of formulating this is if Omega is this template that can receive high counts of midichlorians and receive them.
Yeah.
Right. Then that can be a vessel for Palpatine. Okay. I can understand that. Sure. But then,
or that the possibility that you can make more of them. You could have a clone, like the infinite amount of clones. That
like she holds the secret. Like
exactly.
I can get that.
Yeah.
But what I'm not seeing a through line to just yet is like, how do we get to Grogu? How do we get to everything is so fallen apart by Rise of Skywalker time?
Yeah.
Like even if they destroy this and even if they take out Hemlock, which is all very likely by the end of the season.
Yeah.
I just am very curious.
You feel like that the information was backed up.
It just seems like they've already got it so close. And maybe I'm missing something. Maybe we're going to get a reveal. It's like, oh, this isn't what it seems. And I imagine it's going to be something like that.
I feel like we're only 3 episodes in.
I know. It's just, this is kind of this is what's great about these episodes, that they really start to formulate like, okay. Because it's great that this is connecting with Mando, but that's a long time span. It's like, oh, wow, what is going on with this? Like, the main thing I need to understand is just the difference between like an Omega and a Grogu, because right now it's the same story basically. Like you swap Gideon and Hemlock, they're the same person.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Gideon's a little bit more militaristic and Hemlock's more the scientist. Sure. Well, but narratively,
Gideon wants to clone himself.
I know. I'm saying like narratively, they're the same. It's the same idea. Like they're trying to go after this kid, and you got the lone wolf dad who's trying to, protect them and everything. And what's the difference? Why can't they just go, why isn't Palpatine just right now saying, hey, let's go get Grogu?
Yeah.
Or does he have Grogu right now? Is he in possession of him? And that's where all the midichlorians are coming from.
Yeah.
And then he gets away.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Because I was going to say, Grogu's just hanging out in a random spot.
Or maybe they do figure out this half of it. Maybe you do need 2 halves. Maybe you need like the high M count stuff, and then you need the accepting host, which is the Omega. So you need an Omega and you need a Grogu.
Yeah.
And so right now they're focusing on the Omega part because maybe they have Grogu.
Yeah.
Right.
And Palpatine probably doesn't want to give away his blood. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Or, I don't know. I did think that maybe because after you get post Return of the Jedi, obviously Palpatine's gone.
Yeah.
So like he's like the Voldemort baby at that point. He's like inhabiting the half clones.
He's hanging out in bodies that can't even really control, like hold his spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. They keep degrading. So they have to get at least by Return of the Jedi time, they have to at least make progress enough to where he can jump
do
ship.
That at least. Yeah.
I'm going to address the elephant in the room real quick. With this all building up to the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
I've been seeing some discourse online.
You like to do that.
I do like to do
You
that.
like to do that.
I just like to see how fans are reacting. And
Yeah,
everything.
I get it. You know how that goes.
Yeah. But on one hand, just to play devil's advocate, I get why there might be like some, man, why does everything have to build to the sequels, right? Because, you know, a lot of people don't care for those. But on the other hand, I'm like, this is exactly what Palpatine would do. Like even erase the sequels from your memory for a minute. This is exactly what he would do. I mean, this is exactly what a Sith would do.
Hold on, wait. So if we're erasing the sequels, what did he do in Legends? Oh, he did do this.
Yeah, right. Exactly the same thing.
Gosh.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it was. We said this many times on here. It's not the fact that Palpatine returned. It's somehow
How he
Palpatine
did.
returned.
Yeah.
That's the issue,
Yes.
right? So, and this is all building to that. But it's not just that this is all just roadmap to the sequel stuff. It's not like the guys at Lucasfilm were like, all right, we got to fill in all these gaps.
Yeah.
They're doing that where they can, sure. And that's nice. And it helps build out that story. And I like that. But this is exactly what this character would do during this time, regardless of what happened with the sequels. I mean, he's a Sith. He wants to cling on to the mortal realm.
Because it's all he has.
Because it's all he has.
His spirit
cling on to
can't-
power.
Yes, his spirit can't pass on. And we just got done reading Plagueis. He killed his master because he felt like he should be the only one. There should only be one Sith, basically, at that point. Yeah. So this totally fits in line.
It does. It 100%. It's a perfect through line, I think, from Revenge of the Sith to the Rise of Skywalker version of Palpatine.
Yeah.
I think it all makes sense. I just wanted to address that because I was like, man, I don't know. I don't get that idea. Because, I mean, you had a lot of, even people who really hate the prequels will be out there and say like, man, but Clone Wars really helped me do that. I mean, imagine that same logic applied. Like, gosh, I hate this Clone Wars stuff because it's all just trying to make Revenge of the Sith better.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean?
That's silly.
Yeah. Just
who knows? Maybe you'll end up liking the sequels more after all this other stuff.
Could.
You never know.
Could be.
Yeah.
You know, I'm already a fan of Tross a little bit.
Yeah, I know it's your favorite movie. But like, that's what, at least we've been touting that on this show.
Yeah.
That it's like, why not use this extra media to help build out these stories?
Yeah.
And make them make more sense. I will say this, since you just kind of mentioned Palpatine a second ago, like, I do think it's really cool that when he shows up, there's thunder. And like, I think that's so cool because like, just reminds you of what right after he kills Mace Windu and Anakin drops his lightsaber, you can hear like distant thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like Palpatine is that storm that the rebellion has to weather to win. Like I just, man, dude,
I'm telling you, they hit their stride.
I
they
know,
have hit their stride.
Stuff. It's good stuff. I love it. But the last thing I guess I want to say too, since we were talking about sequel stuff, is it's like, I think without Omega, because clearly he doesn't get her. Like that's why you have to have Rey, with the whole kind of like, having her dad who's not Force sensitive, who was a clone of Palpatine. And then you have her that has the recessive Force trait, basically.
Yeah, that gets super muddy.
That's what I'm saying, though, is like they had to go that crazy route because they didn't have Omega. So I don't know. We'll see.
That's the part where I'm like,
it's something interesting. I don't know, because like she does have like Jedi traits, though.
Omega,
she's calm and compassionate, and she loves animals, and like very much like Luke Skywalker or Ahsoka. Like, just kind of.
No, I'm with you, dude.
Loves life.
I'm in Omega camp.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's great this season so far.
Yeah, that it's just kind of like, I don't know. Like, I don't think she's outright Force sensitive. Do you think she's outright Force sensitive?
I think it could
I know
go,
that, like, the door, yes. That, like.
No, yeah. I think it could go either way. I think that they could play it like. Maybe she's not, but then they do a massive infusion, and then all of a sudden, she can do something. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I will say this though. So last week we gave our predictions on who's not making out.
Yeah.
And I made a joke that I said, wouldn't it be wild if Omega was the only one who dies? I'll just put this out there. I wonder if she's the one who doesn't make it out of this season.
And then the others do somehow?
Maybe, but regardless, like if they make it or don't make it, I'm really kind of wondering if Omega doesn't make it. Because what do you do now that you've opened up this door?
Yeah.
Where she is the key.
Yeah, she's the key to everything.
You either, I think there's a few options. There's either They get her what they need from her, and then they don't need her anymore.
Yeah.
They try to kill her. She gets away, whatever. Who cares? We got what we needed from her anyway.
Yeah.
That's option one. I don't think that's very satisfying. It could be, depending on how they do it. Option two, she does just get away and she's just gone. But then you have kind of the Ahsoka problem where it's like, but where were you? And now when we get to Return of the Jedi time and post Return of the Jedi time, and she was so important.
Then now all of a sudden she's not.
Yeah, now she's not.
Wouldn't she be spending like all the resources the Empire had to be trying to find her?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then there's that. And you could go the route of like, well, yeah, actually behind the scenes, they were trying to hunt her down the whole time. And it's like, but I just don't like that much backfilling to fill in a problem.
Maybe she went to Peridia.
And see, that's lame too. I like
kidding.
interconnectivity, but don't ham fist it that hard. Right? I know you're kidding, but
she's out in another galaxy. You can't always say that.
Yeah. And then the last thing I think, which is starting to feel more likely to me, is that she's the one who makes the sacrifice play.
Which totally seems like a Jedi thing to do.
I mean, you just mentioned, she's very compassionate, and I could see her being like, yeah, you guys have taken so much care of me.
Let me take care of you.
Yeah. I'm clearly, they won't stop. They won't stop hunting me. I don't know that they'll do that because that's pretty dark.
It's super dark. We do know that this season's super dark, though.
I think that you can do it in a way that's like not.
Maybe not
Anakin Skywalker walking into the Jedi Temple with the younglings. I think you could do it in a way that's like, oh wow, that hit really hard, and that was such a sacrificial move, and really prop Omega up as this great character deserving of such a moment.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm totally convinced myself of that yet, but I couldn't shake that feeling when I got to the end of the third episode. I'm like, if she's that important, we don't hear about her ever again.
Yeah.
And we hear about Project Necromancer post Return of the Jedi. That's the big monkey wrench in all of this, is
that they said, they said those things 30 years apart from each other.
And we know their priorities in the Mandalorian timeline. It's like, okay, so then that implies a few things.
Which I don't remember. Do they care that much about Project Necromancer? I thought Gideon was the only one that cared about Project. I thought everybody else was caring more about Thrawn, and Gideon didn't care about Thrawn.
No. So Pelion mentioned it. Pelion cares a lot about Thrawn. Everybody else doesn't really care.
Okay.
About. They didn't really say one way or the other, but like Hux is in charge of Project Necromancer.
Yeah.
Pelion is Thrawn's right-hand dude, but he's also like Project Necromancer is the only way this works, and the return of Thrawn.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought that they were kind of like, go mess with your chemistry kit over there. Then it's like Thrawn's the actual important thing. So I couldn't remember exactly what they said.
Unless I'm misremembering, I think it was both. Like they both had to come to pass.
Gotcha.
So it's just like, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like, where's this going to go? I'm very, very, very curious.
Definitely.
Definitely. A small point before I get on to some of the last two big points. The motif of time in these 3 episodes was so well done. So show, don't tell.
Oh my gosh. That thing taken.
These guys.
That thing taken.
It's very good.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I know everybody keeps giving Filoni credit for this.
Yeah.
I love Filoni. He did not make this show, guys. It was Brad Rao. He was a supervising director. And forgive me, there's some other people who were directly involved with the creation of this. I mean, yes, he's involved with Lucasfilm, and I'm sure he had a hand in it, but he was not the one making the show like he did Clone Wars. The direction, the reason I say that is because the direction of the show is fantastic. And so, not that Dave Filoni would have done a bad job. It's just like, I hear it both ways. Like, oh, Filoni, he's doing a terrible job. He's doing the best job. It's like, but guys, he didn't do.
Yeah.
Quit giving him credit.
It says producer Dave Filoni. Yeah.
It's like when people say Disney Star Wars. It's like Disney is not some hooded puppet master, behind the scenes. It's like they cut the checks, and they make some executive decisions that mostly kind of suck when they do make them. Sometimes they don't. But it's artists who are making each of these things. And I think Filoni's kind of becoming that umbrella term for a lot of people. It's like, but there were, Brad Rao seems to be doing a fantastic job. So anyway, back to this motif of time. First episode, you get introduced to the centrifuge that looks like a clock.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very, very cool. And I like showing the hash marks, and then the passage of time later, and then Omega's hair has grown. She's got an
196 days. I think I read online.
Oh, is that what you read? Wow.
Yes.
That's a while. Okay.
It is. It's like 6 months.
Yeah.
So something to think about. Yes. And then too, her hair had grown. Did you, since we're talking about hair, Who's her older sister?
Emmy Carr, I think.
Did you notice her hair? After she gave the little doll back to Omega, she wasn't wearing her hair up in a bun anymore. She had it down in a little ponytail like Omega. So it's like, ooh, maybe Omega's gotten to her.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can keep going. I'm sorry. I just think that's so like,
no, I think you're right.
It's that little stuff that like,
it's not in your face. It's just so like deliberate filmmaking.
Yes.
Like,
where it's just like, dude, you got to be paying attention to that's like a second or third rewatch to catch that. Cause it is just like a little thing.
Yeah. She's an interesting character.
She is. Like, I'm hoping that we get I think that we're on our way to a face turn, if that makes sense. Like
with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see her being a true believer.
Yeah.
But she clearly has compassion for Omega and Crosshair, you know, and for what she's doing. But back to the time thing.
Yeah,
so then,
sorry.
No, it's okay.
Derailed you.
The last episode, it was a ticking time bomb, like you said.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Like you're just waiting for it. Like, oh, what's going to happen when it gets there? And then it does go off.
Yeah.
Like the Hitchcock thing, you know, you show the audience the ticking time bomb.
Mm-hmm.
You know that when she finds it.
I was surprised that she didn't just go try and rip her blood out of there.
Who, Omega?
In the third episode.
I mean, Dr. Carr was like right there.
I
think she could have done it.
I know, but like
without a rising suspicion.
Yeah.
It's just very good. Very, very good. So moving on to the villain right now, Dr. Hemlock.
Yeah, what about him?
I think he is shaping up to be just an all-star Imperial member.
What a jerk.
He's
that opening scene, him turning off the comms.
Yeah.
We can't get to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he seems so what I like about him is he's not like a mustache twirling villain.
Yeah.
Which Star Wars has been doing pretty good about that lately, I think. He's just very practical. Like, we can't help these guys. Just sorry. He's just so cold.
I mean, he reminds me of Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah. Jonathan Crane.
Yes, Jonathan Crane. But like he looks like Jeremy Renner for some weird reason. But yeah, just cold, calculative, that it's just, outweighs the, we can't waste the resources on that. That's silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about something specific that Palpatine tells him, which is that he will have the full resources of the Empire. And he boasts about that later. Like, he's got the full, because he lets Omega go.
Yeah.
So he's like, we can't shoot her down, but it's not a big deal because I now have the full resources of the Empire behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me thinking. Yeah, he can get Star Destroyers if he wants them. Yeah.
Oh no.
He could get Stormtroopers if he wants to. But the full Imperial might. Who
are you thinking? Darth Vader.
That sounds like full Imperial might to me.
Like the Inquisitorius too. That like
I don't think he'd use the Inquisitorius, but someone like
Vader.
Darth Vader.
I didn't even think about that. Like, I mean, I don't really want him. I don't think that we need him.
I don't either, but in the context of
now,
he's the Empire's gun.
Yeah.
I think that could work.
He's their boogeyman. He's what you send to go. He's Baba Yaga.
I think that, man, like if they want to set it up that way, Star Wars has done a really good job lately of making Darth Vader from the force of nature into an actual character.
Yeah.
Because he was like an actual character in the original trilogy. And then he kind of became like a force of nature for a while, like the Rogue Ones,
Yeah.
Then he kind of became a real character again with like Obi-Wan and with and Rebels in some ways, especially toward the end.
Yeah.
I want to see the horror villain. I want to see the force of nature side of him because nobody in the series is connected to him except for Captain Rex.
Yeah.
But it's not like he can really find out.
No.
So if you want to use the full might of the Empire to track down Omega, bring him in as the Storm.
Yeah.
And
he's that thing they have to weather.
Yeah, we don't even have to hear him talk. Let's just see him come in.
Well, could you imagine? Think about that. That like, I mean, Hunter, Crosshair, and Wrecker, I mean, they could do some damage, but not to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
He would just destroy all three of them at the same time. They wouldn't be able to do anything to him, basically.
It's very interesting to me. Because it's like every time
I'd love to watch him pick them apart. I'll be honest. That would be crazy. Like to see like Wrecker try to hit him and he just like takes it and Crosshair tried to shoot him. He holds the blast. Hunter tries to stab him. He stops it. Like, I mean, oh my goodness.
Just think about it like this, okay? So every time we see Vader, except for on one occasion, he has a connection to the protagonist.
Yeah.
Which means that we see Vader in the protagonist, through the protagonist's eyes.
Light. Yeah.
Rebels, it's through Ahsoka's eyes most of the time. Oh, so he's the sympathetic, like you feel sorry for him, but also he's the monster, right? And then in Obi-Wan, it's his old brother, you know,
former Padawan.
Yeah. And so you have that element to it. Even when he's doing horrible things like running through that town on Mapuzo.
Yeah.
You know that's just because he's trying to get at Obi-Wan, right? But let's see it in another Rogue One context where he has no connection to anybody in there.
Doesn't care.
He didn't say a word when he goes through that hallway.
Yeah.
And it's not like I don't need to see Vader just go through and do something like that. It's not because I want to see Vader cut loose.
Yeah.
As cool as that is, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not immune to that. It's just if the Empire has a weapon like that at their disposal and the Emperor tells Hemlock, like, you will have anything you need.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thought. It's an interesting thought to put Vader out in this way where he's more of a force of nature than a character.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, although he does know the Bad Batch, I guess, technically, but I don't know if he has that much of a connection to them.
The other thing that makes me think too is like, because we know Asajj Ventress is coming. So like it would be,
Could they fight?
Yeah. Well, it'd be wild to see like she makes the sacrifice play or something like that to like give them more time.
That's a good call. Like that's the only way that they even like they
have
link
a
up,
chance.
They link
basically.
up with Asajj.
Yeah.
And then that's when Vader comes in with his hunt. And it's like, well, Asajj is the only one who can even stand a few minutes with Vader.
Yes. If that. But yes.
But she can get the batch to go on.
Yeah.
Although I don't think she dies. I think because
but that's the whole, like you could think that she dies or something like that.
They're not going to do that twice. It makes everybody so mad.
I know. But she could weather the storm longer than they could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thought.
Well, that's an interesting thought. I didn't even think about that. I just thought about him being all like, I want to be the chief science officer. I was just like, well, this guy's clearly not going to get that because that's the thing he really wants. A very director critic.
Yeah.
We're like appointed to that and then gets nothing out of it, ends up getting blown up by Tarkin. So
I wonder if he'll die the same way Krennic does, in that poetic way where Krennic dies from the Death Star. Hemlock will die by all the monstrosities he's created.
I think so, or via clones.
Yeah,
yeah, because he's been so mean to them.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good call.
Mm-hmm.
The other half to that, you think about the full might of the Empire. We see in the trailer that Cad Bane, and Fennec Shand, right? So the Empire, assumingly the Empire is hiring these bounty hunters probably to find Omega.
Yeah.
There's another bounty hunter that we've been wanting to see.
Mr. Bob E. Feet.
Yeah. So
Boba Fett. Bob A. Feet.
And I think that there's a little bit of foreshadowing in the fact that Daniel Logan reprised his role as one of the clone cadets, Mox.
Yes.
In episode 2 of the show so far.
Yeah. Why would you come back just to voice a random clone? I mean, sure. If Star Wars called me and was like, hey, we'd like you to do a voice, I'd be like, yeah. But I mean, he is young Boba Fett, so why not get young Boba Fett in there?
To me, that feels like a soft foreshadow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I completely agree.
But I don't know, I will say, if he and Omega's meeting will be quite so. If they have a future together in some way, it's not going to be in this show. I think that what they might do is just set it up. So, Boba Fett is in Cad Bane. Maybe they have their moment too.
Yeah.
They're going after Omega.
Dude, I would love that if they put that, like reanimated that and put that scene. I don't think it's going to happen, but like.
Okay, here's a little wild thought here.
Uh-oh.
Boba Fett gets to them first. Oh my gosh, you're my sister. You're the exact same as me. This is wild. I never knew that there was another unaltered clone. How crazy is that? Cad Bane coming in. Oh, it's that kid again. I can't believe this. Hunter.
I'm a cowboy, y'all.
Hey, guess what, Hunter? I beat you once. And then Boba Fett, well, you haven't beat me. Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
I explained that extremely goofily, but like something like that.
I mean, he stands up to them, or stands up to Cad Bane.
It's the only way I see that they give him a moment like that, because I mean, it's not Boba Fett's show, so
it isn't.
But I would like to see Boba Fett. I think that they've maybe soft foreshadow, maybe some seeds have been laid.
I think that like it makes the most sense to put him in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to just, I guess short of having another season of his show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of a good theory that
Yeah.
was I don't know if it was a theory or if it was like a leak. I don't think it was a leak. I think it was just a theory. That was not from the show. But if the Mando movie does well, they might do an Obi-Wan season 2 and a Boba Fett season 2 as a movie.
Interesting.
I'd be down.
Yeah, I mean, like, as long as they just aren't doing these things off the cuff, I want like really thought through projects.
Well, those work. I was really harsh on the Mando movie idea because those are serialized characters being brought to movie format. But Boba Fett and Obi-Wan are movie characters. They would work better in a movie format, I think.
Gotcha.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts about Hemlock is like that line about having the full might of the Empire is very intriguing to me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
did you notice his glove? He had one glove on.
okay.
Yeah. I just find that so interesting. Like that, like there was a lot of stuff with hands, like people getting injected in the hand. He's wearing one glove. Crosshair's hand was twitching really bad. What do you think they're doing to him? You think
I didn't catch that with Hemlock. Obviously, Crosshair, he's just been put through the ringer.
Do you think it's that, or do you think they're starting to degenerate a little bit?
That's
the other thing that I'm kind of worried about is the fact that they've been altered, so maybe they start falling apart
so
sooner.
Hemlock a clone?
Well, I'm wondering, is he giving himself a little bit of trying to, juice himself up a little bit?
I don't know, because that would be very Gideon-like. It doesn't strike me as the same type of character.
Gotcha.
It's interesting. Okay. I'll watch out for that.
Yeah.
Going forward. I don't know how much of
I just think it's interesting. Yeah. He's just got I think it's on his left hand. He just randomly had maybe I was wrong, or maybe like they just didn't animate the other hand that he's supposed to have two gloves, but
I doubt they would make a mistake like that.
I hope not, but I mean, sometimes, I bet Game of Thrones didn't want a Starbucks cup in their show, but that happened too.
That's different because in animation, you have to physically make models.
Yes. Yes.
You can't just accidentally leave a Starbucks cup in animation.
Okay. All right.
That's fascinating.
So just interesting.
Yeah.
Weird focus.
Well, speaking of Crosshair, I want to kind of wrap this up with just talking about each member of the batch. Where's everybody at? And so start with Crosshair, I guess.
He tried to do the go on, get out. I'm not worth saving. He tried doing that. That's sad.
He remains the best part of the show.
He is.
Although Omega really gave him a run for his money in these 3 episodes. I really liked her. I thought she was very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was. Yeah, what's going on with him? Is he degenerating a little bit? I think it's likely he's just been tested on so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you really see the effect of time on him.
Yeah. I did like that he was still knocking out, stormtroopers.
Yeah.
He still has a lot of fight left in him.
But that shot, when his first shot he takes and he misses.
Yeah.
And he like looks at his hand.
Yeah.
Good stuff. It's like little moments.
They're
Even in the action moments, they have time to just slow down and give us a moment, here and there. It's just
those nice character moments.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. But yeah, any other thoughts on Crosshair?
It's interesting that he's so stubborn in the whole, like when he's talking to her and everything like that. It's just like, no, I've made this decision and like, you're not going to be able to, you can't get me out of here. Forget this. Yeah. It's not worth trying to get me out. That, like I am who I am and I've got to kind of pay for that basically.
The line that really got me was when Omega was trying to convince him to go and he says, I'm not them.
Exactly.
I was like, oh,
yeah,
man, but you are Crosshair. You are part of the batch.
Yeah. Is he though?
That remains the most intriguing aspect of the whole show.
Yeah.
Is that idea of where does Crosshair stand with these guys?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, it's so well done. It's so well done.
Interesting too, because it's like, now that they've lost one, does Crosshair take that spot basically because like he misses tech? I love that little moment too where he said, what is it like? Something 77.
Plan 77.
Yeah, Plan 77, and then it's just she's like, Tech taught me like all of them, and it's like,
of course he did.
Yeah, fitting. And I love it.
Yeah, a little bit of reverence to him in his own way. Crosshair is like,
he respects him. I think he respects Hunter and Wrecker as well.
Oh yeah. He just feels deeply betrayed.
Yeah.
Whether that's justified or not,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a sympathetic character.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say about Omega, because we've already talked about her, is like she's the heart of the show.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's never been more apparent than right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like season 1, she kind of got on my nerves a little bit. She's kind of had the Ahsoka effect.
Yeah.
Where like season 1 of Clone Wars, you're like, oh my gosh, go away. She's like the little sister, you know, it's like, okay.
Yeah. We get it. You're cute. You're like Grogu. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
But then season 2, she kind of comes into her own a little bit. And now it's like, yeah, she's got that heart, but she's also got a little bit of experience now too.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a tried and true Dave Filoni thing. I think that if there's any mark of him on the show, I'd be curious if that was his decision, because I don't know if you know that theory about how he constructed Ahsoka. He did that
to make her
purpose.
annoying to like make us fall in love with her, basically.
Yeah. Which is a really smart thing to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we have Wrecker, and another character that we don't get a lot of them right now so far.
Yeah.
But the little bit we do get says a lot.
Yeah.
Like they're about to go on this mission when they get to I forget what planet was that.
I don't know. That dude's in season 1 though.
The dude
that they the guy with the broken horn and everything. Yeah.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about when they get to that planet with the broken lab.
Oh, gotcha. No, I don't remember what that
Whatever
was.
planet that
the
is.
jungle planet.
Yeah. Before they go on their mission,
Yeah.
Wrecker's like, hold on. Last time we went on a mission, we lost one.
Yeah.
It's like the Wrecker of old would have just been like, let's go.
We can't lose. Yeah.
The cavalry has arrived.
Yeah, we're bulletproof, basically.
Yeah, but now he's the one that's like, we got to hold back.
Very reserved.
Yeah. And that, in just a simple line, it says a lot about the character, because this guy was
in that opening scene. He doesn't even say a word.
Yeah.
When I feel like that he definitely would have said something.
Yeah, a quip or something.
Yes.
But he also hasn't lost all of his heart either, because when all the clone cadets get on the ship, he's the one over there joking with them for a minute.
He's having fun. Yeah, while Hunter's just taking it all in.
Yeah, and I think that shows the depth of the writing so far, and it makes me very enthusiastic going forward, because I think they could have just gone the entire way where he's just completely shut down.
Yeah.
But that's not realistic. Like if somebody has gone through a trauma like that, they're not just going to turn every part of their personality off. It can be that way, but more than likely they'll have moments where that old person comes through, and and he's always been like that with kids in every season. Every time he interacts with kids, he's got kind of that like big older brother vibe.
He's the cool uncle. Yeah.
So really well done. And then we get to Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And
one more thing about Wrecker though. He carried arguably the most important part of the batch. He was taking care of Gonki in episode 2. And I'm sad that last week we didn't even talk about Gonki. I forgot to even bring him up. I love Gonki. So I think it's cool that they used a Gonk droid to power the panel, while also using text data pad. Like, I just think that's so sick. While the flood from Halo is attacking them,
it's cool.
It's wild. Yeah, that like
the whole episode is neat.
It was cool. I was gonna say I was getting Stranger Things vibes. The one also with like the particles and the vines and everything. Yeah,
the lighting in this episode was
I was gonna say it felt like the Upside Down.
It was a small thing, but I really liked it when they are jumping down toward the control panel inside that lab. And the cadet goes first, and then Hunter goes first. And it's like you hear the sounds, but then Wrecker goes is boom.
Yeah.
It's just a simple little thing.
Well, he's a big dude, and he's got a gonk droid on his back.
You could hear that.
Yeah.
I thought the sound design was really on point, and Konnor's score was also very haunting.
Yes.
Very, very somber.
Yes, and you even heard the Emperor's theme too. In a couple moments. That's nice.
And there was a little soft version of the Bad Batch theme with Omega.
Yeah.
Because she's the one kind of carrying the heart.
Yeah.
Which I think is really neat.
Mm-hmm.
So last we got Hunter.
Yeah.
And he just seems
stoic as ever.
I didn't think he seemed stoic. You could see it all on his face. He just,
but I mean,
he's lost everything.
Yeah. It's just, I'm here kind of gotta try and do my best to get the family back.
It's just, I don't know. He really he was the saddest part about all 3 episodes, I thought, because he's just sitting there, Wrecker is talking to the cadets, and he's just, text goggles are sitting there on the control console, and he's just so somber, and but he's also not lost his determination.
Yeah.
They've got one last mission.
Yeah. And I mean,
their mission is not over yet.
Exactly. And I mean, what's he say? Like, the cadet clones say like, hey, don't go there. I mean, it's covered. It doesn't matter where we're going. If there's a chance, we can figure out, where they could possibly be.
Yeah, his resolve,
Mhm.
is still steadfast, and I love that for him as a character. But also, you just see the weight of the world is on his shoulders still.
Well, I think he feels guilty. I mean,
I'm sure
it's
he
been a
does,
long time. Yeah, he said he'd get her back, and it's been half a year.
And how triumphant to be able to see all of that in animation.
I know.
And not just animation, but this style.
Mhm.
It's just very good.
Yeah.
We've said it a million times. We can make a supercut of just all the time. We said it's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I was going to say, I don't know. Like, I'm not coming out here and saying like best Star Wars ever, but I have a hard time seeing how you couldn't watch this and objectively be like, oh, that's bad. No, it's very well done.
It's very good.
Yes.
It's very, very good. So far, I think that they set themselves up for a great season.
Yeah.
It was smart to drop them these 3 episodes, I thought.
Yes, because only episode 1 would have been like,
Yeah, there's not a lot that happens. Episode 2, you would have heard, I've already heard some people, filler.
No, because it's
filler.
for episode 1, Crosshair Omega, episode 2, Wrecker and Hunter, episode 3, kind of pulls it all back together or pulls it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just excellent stuff. Cannot wait for next week. What are we seeing next week?
I don't know. I don't actually have a clue. Do you think that they're going to find each other?
Not yet.
Okay. You think that they're going to have some misadventures by themselves?
Yeah, I think that we're probably going to see Crosshair. I almost imagine next week as another sort of adventure of the week type episode, but maybe we're seeing both sides.
Yeah.
We're either going to see just Hunter and Wrecker, or we're going to see, and then maybe at the end we get a little stinger of like, oh wait, we got a incoming transmission.
Yeah. We got a ping.
Or we're going to see that from Omega and Crosshair as sort of like that kind of fish out of water, like buddy cop kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more somber, carrying the themes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be a little bit lighter next week.
Yeah.
Both in terms of tone, but also probably narratively as well. I don't think we're going to get anything huge happen next week.
Yeah.
I think it's probably just going to be laying the groundwork for these characters to come back together.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to be a long time before we see Palpatine, if we even see him again.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Maybe final few episodes.
If that. I don't know. I feel like that, like, gosh, what a pleasure. I could listen to him read a grocery list. Couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ian McDiarmid, man. He's one of the Star Wars greats.
Yeah, it's awesome. So,
like I said this before, I love to see him as Emperor Palpatine, not just as Sidious.
Yeah.
So if we get another opportunity to see him as Emperor Palpatine, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
But if this is all we get, I'm okay with that too. It's not his story, so I don't care. You know? It was nice to see him.
It's true.
It's nice
Again,
to get a little
helps fill everything out.
But just because this is the end of this story and it's so heavily involved with Project Necromancer, I think probably a good shot we see him at least one more time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, next week I think we're probably in for something a little bit lighter, probably lighter narratively, lighter thematically.
Yeah.
Before we're gearing up to getting back together. They might get back together sooner rather than later.
They could. They very well could.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you would think too, I could also see Crosshair doing the whole like, I brought her to you, bye. Like, and then leave again. And then like,
no, I actually
you think that, you think once they're there, they're there?
Well, I mean, the trailers have been so explicit about showing Crosshair, and I've been in the camp of like, no, they wouldn't do that. But I think they just, it was just marketing malfeasance.
The other thing too I wanted to bring up was we saw that one clone that we saw in the trailer. He was standing and then he walked.
Yeah, that was weird.
Wasn't that weird? Like, what an odd shot. And it's like, I wonder who that is.
Was that clone?
He looked like him.
So we're talking about that. There's a shot. He was by the elevator.
Yep. And then he goes and he gets on the elevator.
Yeah. And it lingers on him.
Yes.
Watching him go into the elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah.
Because it's never,
I know. It's never referenced again. Not like Omega kicking a mouse droid.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That was also good stuff. And it's time for some fan questions.
Fan question.
Clear your mind of questions.
Okay, so coming in to our fan questions, which we do every week, we post up a prompt on Instagram asking you guys what you guys think and to ask us any questions you'd like us to answer on the show. If you don't have Instagram, you're more than welcome to put it in the comments down below, and I'll do my best to include those into the rotation. Without further ado, first question, Katiesaurus.rex. Do you prefer a 3 a.m. or 9 p.m. episode drop? I prefer evenings to avoid spoilers posted at 3:01. I so wish they would have done the Ahsoka schedule.
I agree too. I agree.
Because we record on Wednesdays.
Would have made life a little easier.
In order to get the show out on Friday. And
it's cutting it a little close.
Yeah. So
hopefully this is going to be the worst one.
Yeah, because it's 3 episodes.
Yes.
So yeah, not a fan. I'm not a fan of the 3 a.m. drops.
Yeah.
Or 3 a.m. or it's 12 a.m. PST, 3 a.m. EST.
Yeah.
Not a fan of it. I
Me
wish
neither.
they would have done the evenings. I thought that was a great thing anyway. Like you get together with the family and you watch an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a huge fan. Hope they remedy that for like the Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, those shows.
Yeah.
Next up, Alan DCG. Hi. Hello.
Hello there.
Imperial Guards again. Will we see them fight? Who are they? What is their weapons like?
Ooh.
We've never seen them fight. I kind of like that though. I kind of like that they are all I like the mystery of it.
Yeah. Well, they're Force Adepts that have been turned to Dark Jedi and Force Pikes. That's what they have as their weapons.
Is that canon though, or is that just all legends?
I mean, what else could they be at this point?
I don't know.
Elite
Praetorian Guards, just to like the...
But they were just elite guards. Yeah, that like...
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't be anything different.
Yeah.
Like in Force Unleashed, like, we get some background. I'm sure we do another material too, but they had like Force Pikes and stuff.
Yeah, Kirk Cronus.
Yeah.
Or Kirk Cronus. I don't remember how to say his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Hurtle_96. Will we see the return of Tech? And will Boba Fett make a grand entrance? I hope not. No, I think that at this point...
Tech needs to be gone.
They've made such an emphasis on it. I would be very surprised.
I'd be disappointed, really.
I mean,
if they brought him back.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed. I don't see them doing it.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about it. I hope we see Boba Fett as well.
Yeah.
_JD Macy _ how did they get Tech's goggles? Do you think that was a setup to make everybody think Tech is dead? So they get Tech's goggles, and at the end of season 2, Hemlock kind of gives it to him as a token of goodwill.
Yeah.
And do I think that Hemlock did that to make them think that he was dead? I remember that speculation at the end of season 2. This is what makes me nervous, is like, I think that that's a possibility.
He fell a long way.
I know,
Yeah.
but
I know.
it's like anything can happen.
I know. It's Star Wars. No one's ever truly gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
some characters need to stay dead.
Yeah. It makes me nervous. I hope
Yes.
not. It's a great call. You know, like that.
I hope he's not the guy on the elevator that we saw. Yeah.
Gosh, just because all of our friends in our group chat, they're going to be like, I told you so.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So I'm going to answer both of these because they're both kind of the same question. From Todd Chadburn 1501, and the second question is from Ricky Squirrel. Will there be Beyond the Dune Sea merch coming at some point? I would love that. How do we order Beyond the Dune Sea shirts and gear? Guys, I am flattered that so many people have asked me about this, because over the past several weeks, I've gotten a lot of questions about this.
That's insane.
I would have never thought, but all I'll say right now is that if we're going to do something like that, we're going to do merch drops. I want it to be something that we're proud of. We're proud to offer. Like it's a good product, not just something we're throwing out there to throw out there. So like, I've been trying to really look into like what's going to be good quality, what's going to like, and not just our logo on a hat or something, which I understand that is what sounds like people want. So that's going to be probably one of the things we do, is like just, our logo on some things. And if that's what you're into, then hey, we'd be more than happy to offer that. But we got a few other ideas of hopefully some stuff, that's not just wearing some random show on YouTube's logo.
I know. Again, I'm flattered at that. Like that blows my mind.
My wife bought me a Beyond the Dune Sea shirt for Christmas, and I wore that on the show last week. And so now we got people who's like, where can I get that?
Yeah.
So very, very flattered. Seriously, very flattered that you guys want that. I am looking into it. I just want to make sure that it's something good and something that you guys will like, and it's not just doing it to do it. You know what I mean? But very much appreciate the inquiry. BC_Scrubs. If you could pick one member of the Bad Batch to survive this season, who would it be? That's tough.
Is Omega a member of the batch?
Yeah, of course she's a member of the
Omega.
batch. If I could pick, probably Omega, but I don't know. Crosshair would be interesting too.
No,
Just
Crosshair would be
right
cool.
there.
And then also I was thinking Last Ronin style, have Wrecker be the one to live.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Like, yeah.
like the TMNT comics.
Yes, like the TMNT comic that you didn't know who the Ronin was for the longest time. And then it's like, oh, it's Michelangelo. What? Yeah.
It'd be crazy.
The party dude became the last Ronin. Yeah.
I don't know how that would work with any of them surviving on their own. I think they kind of all got to go, or they
it's
all
tough.
got to make it, one of the two.
Yeah.
Joaquin Oliveri has got a two-parter. First question, have you played any Star Wars board games? Would you recommend some? That's a question for this guy.
Gotcha. Okay, board games or like, okay. I think you should check out that Star Wars deck builder. Like, that is good stuff. It's done by Fantasy Flight Games. It's a 2-person game. It's really, really good. Like not even just the fact that it's a Star Wars game. Like, I think it's actually a really, really good deck builder. And yeah, that's totally worth your time. You should also look into Star Wars Unlimited. That's going to be a card game that's going to be coming out very soon, like 9 days actually is pre-release. So I am looking forward to that. That will be fun. And then there's all kinds of Star Wars tabletop games with like miniatures where you can have Shatterpoint and Legion, where you're painting little guys and having them battle, rolling dice and stuff like that. So there's lots of Star Wars board games. I was going to say that another one off the top of my head would be there is a expansion to Villainous, which is a Disney board game where you play as the villains. There is a Star Wars expansion. So where you can play as Vader, Boba Fett, or whomever.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's Seth's thing. So
yeah.
if you ever
I like board
have,
games.
If you ever have questions about that, you know who to point them to.
Battlefront's cool and all, but yeah, not as cool as sitting across the table and rolling die against somebody. That's way more fun.
Second question from Joaquin. And the Bad Batch question, do you think Thrawn could appear in the show? That would be really cool. Talking about connecting timelines and things. I would love to see
a young Thrawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, when does Alliances take? That's Clone Wars. So he would have been.
Yeah. No, he'd be around because this is still pre-Rebels. He hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah. Well, Thrawn was kind of banished to the Outer Rim for a while.
Yeah.
Before he had to come in for the Lothal stuff. So. So I don't know that we'll see him. I don't know if there's a reason to if he's out in the Outer Rim doing stuff, but
but at the same time, the Batch could be hiding out in the Outer Rim. So
yeah,
it could.
I would love to see Thrawn.
Yeah,
even if it's just a little throwaway thing, I'd love to see him.
I mean, this is one of those perfect things where you could have him on a hologram talking to other people, and just see you kind of like what's his name? How we saw Paul Bettany's character from I can't remember his name. The guy from Solo. Yes, the guy from Dryden Voss. That's his name.
Yep.
Yes, that I was going to say. Just the fact that you see him on that hologram, like that's cool. That's cool connective tissue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see a hologram of Thrawn or the Chimera or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be cool if maybe towards the end of the season we just get like all the stops are out for the Clone Rebellion, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Thrawn has to come in and fix things because Hemlock won't get things under control.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I don't know. Tarkin's kind of that guy right now.
Yes.
But maybe he's busy.
Maybe
with Stardust.
Maybe.
And the last question from Reese's Pieces of Poodoo. He changed the name.
Appreciate that.
So we can display the whole thing.
Yeah.
Season premiere ranking.
Oh, I kind of did that, didn't I?
Hold on, let me see.
What?
I didn't even show you this. Everybody was, hey, we need a bigger board. Well, mini board coming at you.
Baby board.
So I would put that third episode, just because I'm leaving room for like finale stuff.
Oh yeah, it's A tier.
I would put 3 in A tier.
Yeah.
I would actually put 1 in A tier as well. I really liked it. It's probably toward the bottom of A tier. And then episode 2, really liked it, but not a whole lot.
I'd put top of C tier.
I was going to put middle B.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I think we're gonna have better ones.
I do.
That's what I'm afraid of. Yeah.
So,
Because I
for
feel like,
now.
is this gonna be a running tier list?
Oh, you know what? Sure, that'll be fun.
Oh man.
That's a good idea. Okay,
Yeah.
so right now this can change, but I think it goes right here.
Okay. All right.
There you go. That's my ranking
Yeah.
for the
Guys, he
season
got
premiere.
me. Oh my gosh.
I was gonna show it to you when you got here, but I'm like, this will be way funnier if I do.
Gosh darn it. You're like, it's like Listini over here. No, just making magic happen. Like
So that's gonna about wrap up the show for today, guys. Very excited for next week. What we're gonna get, episode 4. Very exciting. Can't
Yeah.
wait to see what kind of shenanigans we get into.
it's true.
It's gonna be great stuff. Now
Yeah.
we got the whole, got some stuff figured out.
It's true.
What would you guys like to see from us when it comes to merch? Anything in particular? It's like, I want your logo on a hat. Let us know. Or if you're not interested in that, let us know. I kind of want to get an idea for how many people are actually interested in this kind of thing. Because I get messages about it, but it's hard to judge about our whole audience.
It's true. You message me, or then you message me, and I'm like, "That's ridiculous." And then like, yeah.
So if you have interest in that, please do let us know in the comments down below.
It's
And
true.
let us know about Bad Batch. What did you think about it? Let us know. Did you like it? Did you hate it? If you did, we got to know why.
Yes,
I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was awesome too.
They hit the ground running,
Yes,
and
good
I
times.
think it's going to be a great season.
Yes. If this was any indication, if it doesn't get lower than this, we're gold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're sitting good. We're eating good.
Middle B tier
Yeah.
the whole season. Dang. It's good stuff.
Hope you guys enjoyed. If you would leave a like on the old video, hit that sub button if you haven't already. We'll see you guys next week.